No, I'm waiting for the host to let me into the meeting.
I ain't going. I'm going to put face on there. They can hear Grandpa.
Okay. All right.
No, not paper towel.
Can you hear me? I think I'm unmuted. Mr. Walker, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Oh, there she is.
Okay.
Working just fine.
Our champion is here.
Oh, no, that's how they shoes to stand in.
Here.
Okay, it is now 6:30. We'll start this meeting and call it to order. We'll start out with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
Republic
for which it stands,
one nation, under
one
God,
nation, under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
for all.
Could you do a roll call attendance, please?
Gotcha. Donald Alderman,
Here?
Ronald Wilson,
here,
Yvonne Andrews,
Here.
Brad Riddle,
Here.
Mike Kearney.
Here.
Okie dokie. We have, first on the list will be the approval of last meeting's minutes, which was, I guess, 2 weeks ago. Did you guys go over all the minutes?
I have.
Okay, I'll need a first and a second on that.
I move that we approve the minutes of the last meeting. I will second that.
We
second,
have we have a first and seconds, and if I guess you'll do a vote on that.
Donald Alderman,
Yes.
Ronald Wilson,
yes,
Yvonne Andrews. Oh, is she muted?
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Brad Riddle,
Yes.
Mike Kearney.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Unanimously.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess the first item on new business is the Memorial Park rezoning. I guess it's PB/LPA Z 21-01. If I could get the attorney to, or do we need the attorney to read that resolution? Not really, is it? That's a city thing, right?
No, I don't think you do.
It's just rezoning, okay. Okay, well then I guess the city can tell us, or the planning board tell us what they plan on doing with this one?
So it's a rezoning of Memorial Park. Right now, Memorial Park is zoned R1. We're proposing it go to public/semi-public. The reason we're asking for that is because its current zoning and land use aren't compatible. So this is kind of just a little fix to make it compatible. So in the staff report, you can kind of see what's around it. You can see what it currently is and a little bit of background on it. But yeah, we are recommending approval.
Okay. I guess it doesn't have, so we got that taken. Do we have any speakers online that want to speak about it? Do you see anybody? And there's no public speakers here. So then I guess, do we have any discussion here about it?
It's about time.
About
I
time?
read it and understand it. No discussion from me.
No.
Okay, I guess we'll close the discussion. Any, Ronald or Yvonne, you guys got anything to say on this?
I do not.
I do not.
Okay, then I guess I need a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion on Z 21-01 amendment to the official zoning map that we approve it.
Okay, we have a first,
Second,
and Mr. Wilson has given us the second. We'll open again for any more discussion. Is there anybody like to say anything? If not, then let's, I guess, do a roll call vote.
Donald Alderman,
Yes?
Ronald Wilson,
yes,
Yvonne Andrews,
Yes.
Brad Riddle,
Yes.
Mike Kearney.
Yeah.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay. I guess on to number 2, allowable uses table amendment, the LDC 21-05, if the city would like to explain that one.
I would love to. So I have a presentation for you all, so give me just a second so I can screen share. Let's see here. Oh, can you press a button to make me able to screen share? All right. Land Development Code amendment. It's on the allowable uses table, as you guys know, and I know you guys have already looked over it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically what changed is we did some better formatting, we removed some of my
Did someone mute the host?
Keep breaking up, or can they hear?
Mr. Chair, Christie's breaking up online, and maybe she uses a different microphone. We might be able to hear her, but we can't hear her online.
Sorry.
Christie, we're still having trouble hearing you.
Oh, is it maybe me lagging? Something? Okay, hang on.
If she's not sharing her screen, is the audio okay now?
Can you hear me okay if I'm like this, or am I still breaking up?
We can hear you just fine now, Christie.
I
Oh,
can hear
okay,
you
so
now.
it's me screen sharing. Okay, 1 second.
All right, we saw the screen. I guess we can just work off. And we got our sheets, so.
Hang on, I'm just gonna send this over to him, and he can do it. Do you have access to your email?
Okay.
Every meeting's gotta have a little bit of issue, right?
Yeah, it can't go smoothly. Hopefully we'll be back to in person pretty soon.
Yeah, I got it. It's all good. We've almost got it, don't worry.
Way to go, Kristen. You broke our speed
I'm
record
sorry, I
here.
broke everything.
Yeah, I mean, we were on a
We
roll.
were
Yeah,
on
we
a
were on a
roll here. We
roll.
were going to be out of here in 10 minutes.
Hey, we still can be. I'm gonna breeze through this real quick.
Saving the city electricity
Yeah,
here.
yeah, we gotta save power bill. All right, get me
We
back
have-
to my page and then we'll go.
We have to punish you.
I'm
50
sorry.
lashes. 50 lashes with a wet noodle.
No.
Oh my goodness. That's going to be messy.
All right, let's see here. Where were we? Okay, so next page.
There we go.
There we go. Okay, so I was telling you guys about what the letters are, and that's how they are reviewed. And if there's no letter in those boxes under the zoning designations, it means it's not allowed. Next slide. So in the residential section, we deleted attached residential, deleted some duplicates with the mobile home, changed it from being special use in R1 and R3 to just a special use in RE and R1. Changes for mobile home park, change from conditional use in C3 to conditional use in RE. Most of this is just, these are the notable changes in how it's being reviewed and whatnot. We deleted a couple of things like temporary emergency residences. For accessory dwellings, we made it permitted in residential and commercial because before it was just commercial. Next slide. Accommodations with the hotel motel, we added C1 as a conditional use. We changed special exception to permitted in C2 and permitted in C3. That's to kind of open the way for hotels and motels to be able to come into the city, just kind of taking out some roadblocks on that one. It'll still go through, site plan process and all that.
Okay,
Because we definitely need some of those in the city. Bed and breakfast, we had multiple designations for that, so we just merged it into one, removed it from residential zonings, and changed how it's reviewed. Next slide. Institutional, we added some different things, independent living facilities, assisted living facilities, memory care, and permitted those in C1, C2, and C3. Changed group homes from special use to special exception in residential and commercial zonings. General sales is like where most of the changes were. We added quite a few designations. We switched the sales and rentals of goods into two designations, so there's inside and there's outside. We combined the designations for convenience stores, so it's with gasoline and without. We added alcohol sales, package store, tobacco shops, antique gift shop, alterations, tailoring, tattoo, body piercings, gun range, and prefabricated shed sales. We updated the mobile food dispensing vehicle section, so it's going to be reflecting what we'll be presenting to you tonight for, the food truck ordinance update. So we'll go into that a little bit later. We separated veterinary animal hospital into two designations, so we've got the inside kennels, the outside kennels. We've got pawn shops, alcohol sales, package stores, bars, taverns, food truck parks, vehicle sales. Those require conditional use now. Tattoo and body piercing, amusement outdoor, cabinet shops, lumber yards, restaurants with drive-through. I guess I really don't need to list all this stuff for y'all. I mean, it's kind of same changes throughout where we just upped what was needed or lowered what was needed to better reflect what we want in the city.
Okay.
So just, it's a lot of information in one table.
And you guys, this is what you've put together and what you want.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is what we put together. We think
Okay.
it's not a perfect table, but it's a lot better than it was, and it's getting there.
Yeah, and it's more typical of what other cities do. Before, there was some weirdness going on. And I think one of the issues was that site plan was being reviewed at staff level and not getting to the plan board or the commission. And so I think some things were requiring, for some things that we made permanent, we're going all the way up to commission.
And barely hear whoever that is talking.
Some of the things that were permitted, we're going, that weren't permitted, we're going all the way up to the commission level. And I think that was more so they could see the site plan than the use. So we should allow the use and then just let them go through site plan approval so they don't have to go through two processes. And then, but there were other things like apartments that were allowed to be approved at my level. I don't want to approve apartments. So that really should go up to commission level multifamily. So we just kind of made the changes that make sense. There's not such a thing as a perfect table, so there will always be changes depending on what comes in, and we look at things and go, oh, that needs to be fixed, but it's way better now.
So I brought something up with Christy earlier. Did you get a chance to look at that, Christy? In going back, I don't know, X number of years, there was it was in the land development code somewhere, the old code, that we couldn't have drive-in restaurants, or I mean drive-through restaurants. And I raised that question with, did that ever get cleared out of the documents from past history? You know,
So
in
I
the
looked
old
through
days,
all the old
nobody
stuff.
wanted that, and of course it was silly, but it's gone, right?
Yeah, so
So I can
the
open a
clerk,
drive-in
nobody could find
restaurant
any
by law.
ordinance currently in effect that there, we banned drive-throughs. So we couldn't find anything substantiating
Good.
that. And we do have standards for drive-throughs in our code, so we wouldn't have standards if it was banned from the city entirely.
Good.
So, yeah, we can have drive-throughs.
So what this allows is, this table allows drive-throughs like in C3, which is 441, but permitted by right. But if a drive-through wants to come in C2, which includes a lot of downtown, or C1, which is this little bitty pocket, which I don't understand why that exists, quite honestly, near a residential subdivision, that they would have to get conditional use approval
Okay.
because of, where that is located. But along 441 in the areas that they would likely want to go to, they're permitted.
Good. That's good. And again, back to your thought, Ashley, on 441, we're going to do some work on how we keep it in the period.
Yes.
I think that's so important.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's one of the things that we'll put on our strategic plan right after finishing up the comp plan. The land development code, some changes will come probably, the comp plan is on schedule for end of the year. So, because y'all will get to look at it in June or July, then it has to go back to the planning commission for some review and then goes to the commission. And then there's 2 readings. But because so much in the land development code needs to be changed, typically you would do changes right after the comprehensive plan, but we kind of can't wait. So we'll bring some of those, hopefully a big portion of it, if not a whole land development code, with some changes for High Springs prior to the comprehensive plan. That's the goal, can't guarantee it. And then after the comp plan, if we need to make some tweaks based on the comp plan, we will, but we can't, this land development code is really hard for, I personally think it would prohibit development coming in residentially and commercially because it's so difficult.
What things need to be tweaked?
Well, the tree preservation, that's part of it, the signage part of it, the commercial and architectural guidelines. We need to establish some residential design guidelines. The zoning is inadequate. It doesn't have as much information as you usually have per district in it. It's very difficult to read. It conflicts with each other all over the place. It is very difficult to administer and find things. It's an inadequate code. I mean, it's okay. It's better. It's serving us okay, but we could have one that is much improved and up to date with the times, and more customer service friendly and easy to read and administer for staff and for others to understand.
Good.
Okay.
How would this, does it address or affect anything with Airbnbs or anything like that?
So the Airbnbs, that's something that staff needs to look into further. There's state statute which impacts it now that localities cannot regulate it if they didn't already have regulations in place prior to when the state statute was, enacted. I think that was 2019, 2020, 2019. Yeah, and so currently we cannot, I had to look into it more, but we cannot regulate it as much as we would be able to had we already had something in place. So that's something that staff needs to research more.
Well, I'm glad he brought that up because it's been a bone of mine for years. We have an Airbnb, and of course I had talked to Bruce over the years about this problem with Airbnbs not meeting proper fire code and other conditions, and not really having some type of inspections by the fire department and the building inspectors. It's a new
Like a
game.
hotel does.
I mean, I know there's several cases, I caught myself even not having the right alarm in our Airbnb. But I know there's cases that these places aren't even close to being legal, and people are staying in them, renting them out and staying in them. And it's just, first place, I think it would be a revenue source from a permit standpoint for the city. If you're gonna run an Airbnb, they should have some kind of a permit for the city, and it should be inspected.
Well, okay, so a couple things. Right now, because I've had some calls on them, we don't have a lot in our code where we can regulate them, and so it's definitely something we need to do. But the county is starting their rental registration program. If you have a home that's being rented out, either long-term or short-term, then I agree they should be inspected. Right now, I don't know if we want to piggyback on and have the county involved at this level, or if we would want to start a program up ourselves. Actually, the last city I was at, the department I was over, we started the rental registration program. And you do make a profit off of it, but it does require a dedicated staff person and a significant amount of time, especially when you start up. So with the new budget process, I could look into that and see how we would do the staffing, because I think if we had the county do it for us, which is something we can look at as well, I don't think we'd want to be tied into them doing it forever. We would want to eventually take care of it ourselves, because the scary thing with that is that, what if we don't want it to negatively impact some historic homes, or, there's pluses and minuses.
Yeah.
And so we would want to be able to have the flexibility at the local level to do it what fits our city.
Yeah, because I know the county, I believe that we do have to pay a county tax. If you're running an Airbnb, there is a county tax that you have to pay.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think everybody's paying it.
Yeah, well, and also some of them are hard to find. A lot of times the way you figure it out on the long-term rentals is through the utility bills. You can figure it out. There's different ways to do it. The short term, it's much harder because typically you have the owner paying the water bills. So it's very difficult in the short term to find them and enforce them. I mean, you can start looking on Airbnb and other places that would advertise to figure it out, but it doesn't mean you're going to be able to get them all.
If you were actually to find an Airbnb violating a code, is there any way that you could close them down? I mean,
If we
how
had
would
a rental registration program, and so we'd have to have an ordinance starting that program and what all it entailed. One thing though is we are hopefully coming soon. We have an area in our code for code enforcement, but we're going to be, if the commission approves, adopting the International Property Maintenance Code, and that allows you to handle homes on the outside and inside and their structure. But again, you're not going to go into someone's home unless there's a reason that you need to. Whereas the rental registration program would require inspections yearly, so you can catch it.
Yeah, there seems to be, I think should be some sort of checks and balances. I know the state has an ordinance on that, but I mean, we have I think a couple Airbnbs right next to the school property, and you could get anybody move in there that legally can't live there just to rent the place.
Yeah.
And it just seems like it's such an unregulated thing right now that you can get away with. I know of some places right now that they've literally turned the houses into apartments per se, that you couldn't do legally. If you came to the city and asked to make an apartment out of it, you say, no, you can't do that, but it's an Airbnb, so I can do it. Or they take their RV in their yard and turn it as an Airbnb.
That's right. That's one. The RV thing is one, and the other is if somebody just brings in the shed and puts a bathroom and a bedroom in there, and now they're putting it out as an Airbnb, and it
falls under state.
I think that we need to figure out some way that the city has some inspection from a safety standpoint on these type of properties.
Well, we have life safety codes with the fire department that apply to everything, but for some reason that right now they don't seem to be applying here. I mean, if there's a life safety situation at someone's home and it's obvious to the public, we can actually go in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we need an
But we
inspection.
can't, but I'm saying, as far as Airbnbs, we're kind of like, it could be a life safety thing. There's nothing we can do about it. So the rules are written so that we can protect people, but then Airbnb is like above that right now.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, you typically, the fire inspections are mainly on commercial.
Right.
And then if you would want to go in the home, you really need to start that program I was talking about.
Yeah, because an Airbnb is really not a home. It's, it's a commercial adventure.
Yeah, exactly. But it's still seen, the way it's seen is as residential, even though it's
know.
kind of operating as commercial.
But the reason Airbnb in its own inception, they make it very vague where everything is on purpose so that you can't track them down, or especially in cities I know right now that do have rules against Airbnbs,
Hello?
they keep it hush hush so
Yeah.
they can have the Airbnbs.
But there's no way to check, because is there fire alarms? Is there carbon monoxide?
Do they have an open flame fireplace?
Right.
And that's what the IPMC would allow us to do.
Mhm.
Yeah, if we did
call
that
me,
plus
okay?
the rental registration
Okay.
program.
Bye-bye.
And, but again, I need to look into the difference between long-term and short-term, and talk to the attorneys. So we're in compliance with state statute.
All righty.
One
Is
step at a time.
any more discussion on this? Was there anybody publicly logging in or that has anything to say? Nope. Okay. Then I guess I need a first and a second.
I make a motion that we accept table 2.02.01, allowable uses in zoning districts.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a first and a
Things that
second.
I'm not in agreements with on that, so
Did you guys hear that?
I didn't hear what you said.
there's some
Ms.
things,
Andrews, we couldn't hear you.
there's some things that I'm not in agreements with, so I'm gonna vote nay on that.
Oh, you're not
Oh.
in agreement?
All right, well, do you want to discuss it?
There are some things that they're talking about mobile homes, and they're talking about of course about the AR&B. I guess they're going to be bringing them back up again, but I'm not in agreements with them, so I'm going to vote nay against this right now.
Okay, we have a first and a second. I guess second discussion is closed. If you want to do a roll call vote?
Donald Alderman,
Yes.
Ronald Wilson,
Yes.
Yvonne Andrews,
Nay.
Brad Riddle,
Yes.
Mike Kearney.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1.
Okay, let's see. What's our next one here?
I do think when Yvonne has talked about, we need to look into what she's talking about.
Okay,
Yeah.
We'll get more info.
Okay.
Or we'll reach out.
it'd be easier once we get all back in the, have anybody talked, I talked to you earlier, have you guys discussed about bringing it all back? Or we got to go to council on that, bringing everybody back in here
For the table?
for the meetings?
Oh, so right now the elevator isn't working, so that's an issue.
And that's another issue too. The elevator and handicap accessibility.
We were talking about until the elevator's fixed, maybe moving the next one to the school building
Okay,
is kind of the discussion until we can get it fixed. And then we can talk about moving everyone back.
We're really gonna fix the elevator, huh?
Well, we keep trying, and the thing is, they say the parts, it's hard to get the parts ordered because it's so old.
I know,
So
it's an
maybe eventually we need to replace the whole thing, just, put it on the list of things
Yes,
to
I
pay
have been
for.
talking to the city for months, in fact, years, about getting the upstairs handicap accessibility. And now that I'm very handicapped, I really am pushing that issue. So I hope I don't have to go to ADA about this situation.
Okay. So I need to see outside the elevator, all the other things that need to be done I'll talk to her about what she's talking. We have Paul Stressing, an architect who
So
can come
Scott, you
in.
better look into that.
Will do.
Noted.
Absolutely.
So,
All right, okay. On to the next item, which is LDC 21-04, Amendment to Text of Land Development Code. If you guys like to explain that?
the food truck park.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is an ordinance for food truck parks. As y'all may or may not be aware, we had someone interested in doing one. They talked to the commission. Currently, it is not something they want to move forward with any longer, but we still needed to have a food truck ordinance.
Yeah.
And have it on the table. So basically what it does is it requires anyone who wants to do a food truck park to go through y'all and the commission. It's a conditional use for approval, that it's not just allowed by right anywhere, because it's a heavy use that normally does impact adjoining neighborhoods and whatever's right beside it. For the site plan, there's a lot of things in the ordinance regarding when you bring a food truck in, if it is approved as a use, then how is staff, can you hear me still?
Yes.
How is staff
Yeah.
going to review the plans? Because when the plans came in, there was nothing that I could say, how many parking places do you need? What are the setbacks? You know, they need restroom facilities, they need hand washing stations, all those sorts of things that make it safe. And so this ordinance basically accounts for all of that. So if a food truck park is allowed, staff can do an adequate review to bring to y'all to consider.
Yeah, this also includes not just food truck parks, but also somebody private's piece of property is gonna allow them to put a food truck on it. I thought that was quite well written.
Yeah, it went through several renditions before it came to y'all.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's as good as control as you can get with the state forcing it down everybody's, pocketbook.
Yeah, you would not believe the amount of hours talking about food truck parks. So there's a lot more to it than people realize.
Now, this is food truck parks. It's like if someone wants to come in and store 6 or 7 food trucks in the area, that's what you're talking about, not the
Right,
actual.
well, it has the food truck park in here, but it also has just your singular food truck.
Right, but I
They're
mean,
listed
does that affect someone coming over here over the property? Well, what's this place over here that they come over all the time? The brewery?
No, so it won't affect
That's
them.
a separate
That's a
entity.
separate thing.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, it's part of this ordinance.
Right.
The singular.
But these are the people that own the trucks or use the trucks, not the businesses that use the trucks, as far
Right,
as.
so it changes designation for how many are on site at once. So if the brewery wanted multiple on site at once, they would be
They have to meet.
food truck park.
Right. How many is the max in this right now?
I think, what is
Is
the
it
cutoff?
based on the
3?
property size?
There's
I
3 and-
think the cutoff
3
is
and
3.
5.
I'm looking because, we,
I thought it was 6, but I must have read
No, I
something
but
think-
that's
different.
the food truck park. So
Oh, the park,
the
okay.
mobile food, the no more than one mobile food dispensing vehicle shall be parked or in operation on a single property at any given time.
Right.
How many was that?
One.
1. So they
The
couldn't have
last
2
time
of
we
them.
did this with the brewery, what did we come to? Were we in compliance with the state regulation, with county regulations? Or we
At the
just,
time, we were in compliance when the original food truck ordinance went through, but there was a change that year. And so now we are not in compliance. There's certain things we can't regulate with them anymore.
But say the brewery wants to have 4 for some reason, because they're going to have an event or something, then they can apply for this special use permit. And so we can take those, but we don't want them to have 3 or 4
All the time.
all the time. So, but if they want to do something special, have some bands of, 4 or 5, out there for a weekend, they can do the special use permit.
Right. But then if somebody wants to allow a food truck to park on a piece of property that they own, that's perfectly legal, except they have to meet these requirements that the city has put in. The state basically says you can't stop them, but this gives the city the ability to control that they're doing it right. They're gonna have to have, like, say, wash station back, and they're gonna have to submit drawings as to what the property looks like.
Can't park it halfway in the street.
No.
Times of day, all that sort of stuff. And
Yeah,
so,
right,
and
right.
on the mobile food vendors, they're allowed up to 4 days a week, no more than 3 consecutive days. So you don't just have it out there all the time.
Right.
Is there any more discussion on this?
Mr. Chair, as has been discussed, the major change in this ordinance is that we can no longer permit the use of the food truck. That's the state statute that changed this so that the permitting regime for the licensure of the food truck runs through the state. And,
Right.
the Department of Agriculture actually is the licensing authority, and local governments can no longer permit or license food trucks, but we can still govern where they're placed. And so this ordinance does that. It allows, and as you stated earlier, and Ashley stated, and Christy, that it allows for individual food trucks in certain instances, and then it allows for less than 6 if it's a food truck park. It makes that differentiation, and then if it's more than 6, it also allows for that permitting requirement as far as placement.
Okay. Any more discussion? Any public discussion out there? Do you see anybody? Okay, I'll need a first and a second.
I move that we approve LDC 21-04 amendment to text the land development code regarding food trucks.
I will second that motion.
All right, we have a first and a second. Is there any more discussion on the subject? Okay, I need a roll call vote.
Donald Alderman,
Yes.
Ronald Wilson,
No.
Yvonne Andrews. I think you might be muted.
No.
No, gotcha. Brad Riddle,
Yes.
Mike Kearney.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-2.
Okay, I guess that concludes our new business for the day. I need a motion to close.
I motion we close.
I need a second.
I'll second.
All right, would you do a roll call vote, please?
Do we need one for closing?
I didn't last time, but you did it, but.
Oh, okay. I'll do it.
Or you
Donald
say-
Alderman,
Yes.
Ronald Wilson,
Yes.
Yvonne Andrews,
Yes.
Brad Riddle,
Yes.
Mike Kearney.
Yes.
We
Motion
are
passes
adjourned.
5-0. But we do have our historic
Oh,
board to
that's
go
a
through,
separate
so
meeting,
that's just
right.
one little extra thing.
Okay, that's right. That's a separate meeting altogether.
Correct.
Okay. Then it is now, what is it? 7:35?
7:08.
I can't even see it. Oh, 7, all right. It is 7:08. We're now opening the historic board meeting. Get my glasses back on. And that was that last colorful pages, right? Okay. Okay, let's see. This is the certificate of appropriate Chompers drive-through. Now, is this, okay, so I guess at this point, I guess the attorney needs to ask us if there's any ex parte on this.
That's right, Mr. Mayor. If we'll go down the line with each one of the members of the Planning and Zoning Board and Historic Preservation Board, if they will notify the chair if there's been any communications that they might have had about this matter outside the hearing.
Roll call. Make it easy.
I'll do a roll call to make it easy. Donald Alderman,
No.
Ronald Wilson,
I have not.
Yvonne Andrews,
No.
Brad Riddle,
No.
Mike Kearney.
No.
Okay. Then I guess at this, is there a, let me look at this real quick. And I guess the applicants are not here. Are they online?
Mr. Chair, we do have Mr. Chris Potts on if you'd like to bring him in. Just needs to unmute himself.
Mr. Potts, would you like, if you'd like to speak, we need to have you sworn in?
I do not.
Okay. All right. Then I guess at this point, I would put it over to the city and their explanation of what's going on here.
So this is for Chompers. This is at that old bank drive-through building that's over, it's not quite on Main, but it's off of 185th. And so they will be closing in one of the drive-through lanes in order to, you know, put their kitchen in and all that. And they will be repainting the outside. Staff does not see any issues with what they've proposed, so we recommend approval.
Okay.
It still has to go through the building department, et cetera, et cetera.
Correct, yeah, they still have to get all their building permits, they've still gotta do all the right things. This is just saying, yes, you can go ahead and change the exterior.
They're going to try to maintain the look of it to match the existing buildings, I guess. That will still have to go through us.
Well, this is for that, so they are going to be painting, the paint
Right.
chips are on here.
Right. The pit colors there. Yeah. Okay.
Right, yeah, and they show what they're gonna do on that last page of the
Right.
document.
And
Okay.
this is in the historic district, right?
Correct. But it's not, it's not a historic structure itself, it
Per
just
se.
falls within our district.
Because it's where its location is.
Yes.
Okay. They have adequate parking on site.
Yes, so while they still have to, you know, show us all that, we did do a little preliminary meeting with them where they showed us where their parking would be. There's no sit-down dining for this restaurant, so it's merely, you know, drive-through, and then also people can come up to the carry-out window and get it and go. So not much parking is needed besides staff and a few different, you know, parking spaces. They did have adequate stacking for their drive-through.
So it's like a Bev's Better Burgers over there by the Island gas
Right,
station.
right, yeah, that nobody stays.
So, is that right? So it's understood that there is no sit down.
Correct, there's no sit-down at all. There's not even room there for a
Okay.
sit-down. It's very tiny.
Any more
How,
discussion?
how big is the piece of property?
I can find out for you. Give me 1 second.
Well, I don't know.
Take me to where the little stand is gonna be. Is it right there behind where the Ford company used to be?
We're gonna pull up a map for you. 1 second.
All
You know
right.
where it's at, right, Kevin?
Do you know where the depot is? Back behind there near the new farmer's market area? It was that little
Yeah.
drive-through for the bank.
Okay,
And what was the bank? It was
Bank of America.
Bank of America drive-through. Had what, 3 lanes?
Yeah.
yeah.
They used to take all our money.
Right there. Oh.
Yeah, okay, got you.
Good.
So they're gonna have one drive-through or 2.
One drive-through, well, yeah, one drive-through lane and one that you can pass by because closing in one.
Right, gotcha.
Okay, good.
Okay.
That was a question. I was-
Yeah, they'll have room to pass by.
Good.
The food's supposed to be really good. That's what we hear. Yeah.
You say they're what? They've got good food?
Supposed to be really good.
So you're telling us you have a conflict of interest?
Yes.
Well, I understand.
But I'm not doing this one, Christy is.
Well, and these are same potential people that are going to put the big restaurant in at the end of the road, right?
Correct, down where the old auto
The
car
old
quest.
CarQuest building.
Same applicants.
Okay.
And they have other restaurants.
Correct, but I think they're in other cities.
They are, yeah.
Okay.
But this is just a walk up, get your sandwich, walk away.
Or
Right,
drive
Walk
up.
up or drive through, either one. You can't stay there.
Very exciting.
Any more discussion among the board members? I don't need a first and a second.
I'll make a motion for certificate of approvals for Z 21-000-026. And close the existing drive-through lane and add a kitchen.
Second,
Good.
Okay, we have a first and second. Any more discussion on this? I need a roll call vote?
Donald Alderman,
Yes.
Ron Wilson,
Yes.
Yvonne Andrews,
Yes,
Brad Riddle,
Yes.
Mike Kearney.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, need a motion and a second to adjourn this meeting?
a motion we adjourn.
I will second it.
Do the vote again?
I'll do the vote again. Don Alderman,
Yes.
Ronald Wilson,
Yes.
Yvonne Andrews,
Yes.
Brad Riddle,
Yes.
Mike Kearney.
Yeah. This,
Did you say yes or no?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good.
all right, meeting is
5-0.
adjourned then.